Going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network. This is Jason Kabenda from the Detroit Lions, here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. I know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're gonna do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. Y'all have a great day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NFC North Open Mic Night. I'm your host, Mike, along with our panel of headliners and the maestro, Russell Wayne. And we're here to talk about post-draft madness in the NFC North. All four teams had some interesting days over the draft weekend. And we'll start with Bill, the Packer fan in the Evil Empire. Bill, what'd you think of the Packers draft?
I think it was a solid draft pick, but I got to say, man, everybody pay attention, man. We got to bow down today, because the Lions had the best draft in the NFL. So
we're talking about the Lions.
Sure did. I just sat here and watched
the Lions didn't have no good draft.
Everybody was a steal, huh?
Yes, they did.
I know. It's almost like last year. It's almost like last year when all
Brian
8
Bachman,
picks landed on the field
Jeff
and beat
Campbell.
the Packers twice.
Man,
I love it. But
for
did
that,
you
Mike?
beat the Vikings twice?
Oh, we got a Vikings fan representing tonight.
Hey, a Vikings fan came out of the woodwork today. It's trash talking day, Jonathan, so you better be careful how you tread. What do you think about the Vikings draft?
Well, we got the best route runner out of all the wide receivers. And that running back we got, it's kind of a steal.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna steal words from your first round and first pick, and Dan Campbell's words. We didn't just draft a running back; we drafted a weapon.
Okay.
Okay. Explain that to me.
You drafted a weapon, kind of like Reggie Bush.
What?
That could have been
Find
taken
these
in the
guys,
second
Russ.
round.
I'm too drunk for this.
You're doing great, Jonathan.
I would think you would have a better take than that, Jonathan. Come on, you have a
No,
gigantic
honestly,
head. Your head is taking up the whole screen on my picture.
I'm being real with you. I'm not trying.
You must have a bigger brain to have that giant head. Is what I was thinking.
You drafted a weapon. Who's
You
not
did
just
or
a
we
running
did?
back, but he's a
I know
weapon.
we did. We're talking about the Vikings draft. Try to pay attention.
Okay.
We're
So
talking
you want
about
to
the
talk
Vikings draft.
We took a lot of players in the Vikings draft.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, you did.
Such as
Actually, you only had
Better
5
than this.
picks, Jonathan. You didn't have a lot of picks, but go ahead.
we didn't have a lot of picks. You're right, but we took a lot of good picks.
Boy, that was painful. Let's welcome a Lions fan so we get a decent take. Here's Taylor. Taylor Phillips, what do you think of your team's draft, the Detroit Lions?
Well, they took Jahmyr Gibbs. He makes moves. He runs really fast. He's actually an upgrade from DeAndre Swift.
What pick? 18?
12.
No, 18.
Jack Campbell is 18.
What? Jack Campbell?
Yeah, he's a linebacker.
Go ahead and finish your take, Taylor.
Yeah, Jack Campbell is a linebacker of 18. Jahmyr Gibbs is a running back out of 12 overall. And then the Lions, they got cornerback Brian Bachman early in the second round. He is an impact player. He can address the pass defense. He can work alongside Kirby Joseph, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Cam Sutton, and Emmanuel Mosley. And I think Brian Bachman has that caliber to cover the receivers and make the proper plays.
You mean Brian Branch? You mean Brian Branch?
Yeah, Brian Branch, yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I thought you said
Branch, rather, not Bachman. I'm sorry. Branch. Brian Branch,
It's okay.
also from Iowa.
You get a little comfortable.
No, Brian Branch went to Alabama.
Alabama, sorry.
I'm
Same
going
with
to say
Jahmyr
something
Gibbs.
now I've never said in my life. We're going to kick it over to Mike the Bear fan to get a good take. Mike, what do you think about the Bears draft this year?
I personally liked it. They did all needs, for sure. The one that stood out the most for me was the tackle, Darnell Wright, just to protect Justin Fields, because all the additions that he has for weapons and the tight end, like, there's no reason for it. He's got enough weapons now, so there's no ifs or buts. If it goes down, it's his fault. But I believe he blows up. I believe he gets in between 3,000 and 4,000 yards.
I know you wanted Paris Johnson, Mike, and I thought he was the best tackle in the draft. So I want to ask you, if Paris Johnson would have been there at 9, do you think they still would have taken Darnell Wright?
Man, we do these mock drafts all the time.
Yeah.
Fairly, we're right. You know what I mean? But I personally think they would have for sure. After I went back and looked at Wright's highlights, like, he manhandled Will Anderson and Carter. So, I mean, I didn't see a lot of other film on him, but I believe in polls because last year he had 3 starters out of the first 4 picks. So I have faith in him. He's been doing nothing but good things coming to the organization. So,
Greg Rice, give me a quick synopsis of your team, the Detroit Lions draft.
I spoke about this. This wasn't exactly the wealthiest draft in terms of generation blue chip talent. The Lions went and grabbed with their first 4 picks. Either one, the top 3 you could debate any way you want. Top 3 at each position. I'm stoked about it. You could say the top 5 picks. Top 3 at each position. Brad Holmes did what he did, and we're just waiting for the results. I couldn't be happier.
And Darcy Maville, Detroit Darcy. What do you think about that Detroit Lions draft?
Well, it comes down to, first of all, Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes don't give a F about your freaking mock drafts. First of all,
thank you.
And they're going to do what they're going to do. You like that because they're going to do what they're going to do. And I thought they had a fabulous draft. Last night I posted a B-, but as I do doing more and more research on them, as I'm getting into it, make sure you tune in on Wednesday at 6:30. We're going to have John Macron with Sports Illustrated and also Mark Oram, and we're going to talk about this. I'm not an expert, but the more I warm up to it, the more I like it.
Right on. What's the day and time for that program, Darce?
It's going to be at 6:30. We're going live to the Detroit Lions news, what you guys just came off. Excellent show, by the way. Main event Mike and Greg Rice and Russell Wayne.
So that's 6:30 Eastern time?
Yeah, then it'll be 5:30 for the bad guys.
Okay. 6:30 Eastern time in the Detroit Lions news. Darcy will be live with Sports Illustrated reporter. It sounds really good.
If you would like to come on, Mike, that would be perfect.
Okay. Maybe I will.
If you could host it, it'd be even better.
Okay. Well, all right then. Okay. Well, we'll take that conversation offline. Russell Wayne, I'm going to round out this line of ridiculousness with you. I already know you're the biggest Lions homer I've ever met. So tell me, why the Lions had the best draft in this division.
Well, because they had 5 of the top 50 players, and
thank you.
There wasn't even a team that anybody in the North that even had 3 of them. So every single player that we picked was an impact player at their position. And Hendon Hooker, I mean, what kind of value is that dropping all the way to the 3rd round? I don't even know if they had a plan on taking that quarterback, but he just fell so far. Eventually, you just got to take it where the value is. And I loved every one of those first picks. Jack Campbell probably is my favorite one. That's the starting middle linebacker for the Detroit Lions for the next 10 years. Tell me I reached.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. Tell me I reached. Okay, cool. I reached.
Awesome. Let's talk about now how the Vikings had the worst draft in this division. I don't think it's even debatable, right? I mean, they only had 5 picks to begin with, and they had one of the worst defenses in the league. In the first pick, they took Addison, wide receiver. So, Jonathan, we'll kick it over to you and give you another chance at a take. Do you think the Vikings had the worst draft in this division?
Not at all. I think the Packers did.
Tell me why.
Why?
Tell me why.
Tell you why?
Yeah, let's hear this.
Tell the truth.
What did they draft in the first round?
A beast.
First round
draft Lucas Van
Ness.
We got an offensive coordinator in the first round, Winkleman.
Of course.
What is it, Bill? What is his nickname? What are you guys calling him?
Winkle Dick.
No,
let him keep going. Let him keep going.
Go ahead.
Because Minnesota only had one pick
anyway
in the first 102.
You look at talent and where we got it.
You're
telling me that we didn't get a good defensive tackle in Roy?
Maybe Jacqueline Roy from LSU, nice big tackle for sure. But look where you got him. He was a 3rd round grade, and you got him.
We got him in the 5th round, right?
Yeah. You did pretty good. You did pretty good with that. That's the only thing that saved your draft from being an F. That and the Ward kid, the two LSU players that you drafted.
The BYU quarterback.
At least you got someone.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. You're just making my point, Jonathan. You took a BYU quarterback in a later round, and you're expecting that with all those holes on defense. You took a quarterback.
What was his interception to touchdown ratio?
Let's see. It was I don't give a shit.
Because that's the same thing that everybody who has a good one of those doesn't give a shit.
Mike, let me jump in.
Let's say the same
Greg,
thing about
jump
Aaron
in and
Rodgers.
save this man.
Bill,
all right,
Bill,
so look,
the Packer fan.
When it comes to the Vikings draft,
shut up. Let me talk.
All right,
Bill, the Packer fan.
Do your thing.
Oh my God.
What's up, buddy?
What was Aaron Rodgers' touchdown to?
Oh,
do you judge touchdown interception ratio?
So you're comparing a BYU quarterback to Aaron Rodgers?
Essentially,
Somebody did.
Look, let me jump in on this Vikings thing, man. Look, the Vikings.
All right, Jonathan, you had your chance. Now you're asking questions. You're supposed to be answering questions.
I'm not
jump in and save this man.
All right, so look, the Vikings did what they could, and what I think the Vikings did best was actually what came after the draft. I love the Yvonne Pace Jr. pickup. I love the Andre the Carter, the 2nd pickup from the Army. These are 2 guys that will come in, and I think will make the 53-man roster without a shadow of a doubt. In terms of bringing in Jordan Addison, I think that is a great weapon. Look, Vikings' plans this year is to rush the passer and to outscore everyone, and I get it. If you're looking at Brian Flores, that is one thing that he does exceptionally well. He's going to be hitting you with a lot of zero blitzes. You bring in a versatile player like Yvonne Pace Jr. in your linebacker core, mix him up with Davenport, Zadarius Smith, as well as who's Danielle Hunter, they're going to be bringing the pressure. And I get it. This is what you're going to have to do. You have a declining Harrison Smith in the backfield. You have a Andrew Booth Jr. who played absolutely horrendous last year. You got Seen coming off an injury.
Because he
but
was
Brian Flores knows what he's doing when it comes to bringing pressure. It's what he specializes in. That zero blitz he brings, I expect a lot of that from Minnesota, that as well as outscoring their opponent. And what better way to do that than grab the best receiver on the board at the time for the Vikings and Jordan Addison?
Yeah, right. I get that. I get that. The only problem, though, is that your defense was so bad in Minnesota last year, and then you go and take an offensive player with the first pick. You have a chance to make an impact player, to draft an impact player. And maybe you did. And maybe you did. But you are bringing in Brian Flores. And let's take a look real quick. What does Brian Flores cover? Jonathan, we'll give you your chance. Now let us have our chance before we have you pulled out of here. All right. So let's look at what Brian Flores does. He loves press man coverage. Okay, yes. There were some great corners available when you drafted a wide receiver. He loves huge players. In his time in Miami, his time in New England, he always loved big defensive tackles. That's why Roy was a great pick in the later rounds. But there were some beasts, some absolute monsters on the board when they drafted in the first round. And the Minnesota Vikings continually moved back through the draft with no real result. It didn't seem that there was no impact gained from them moving back. They moved back in the third round, and the team in front of them took Trenton Simpson, one of the best linebackers in this draft. And after Eric Kendricks left the team, you don't think they could have used Trenton Simpson? I mean, I know we're all just knuckleheads with a podcast here, but even Stevie Wonder could see that Kwesi screwed the pooch on this draft. Bill, the Packer fan, would you agree with that assessment?
Oh, I would more than agree. And I think it's funny because I'm watching all the other three teams in the North, replenish their offense, their defense with younger and fresher people. And what are the Vikings doing? Same old Vikings. And I feel like John Dorn, but it is the same old Vikings.
They screwed the pooch. They screwed the pooch in the free agency period. They let way more players go than they brought on. They brought on Byron Murphy, and Davenport. Maybe those are some decent signings, but in comparison to what they lost, their team did not get better. And they lost. They won 11 one-score games last year. They had 8 come from behind victories. This is a team that had big defensive struggles last year, and I just don't see where they did anything in this draft to really help their situation much. Late round picks are developmental. They're not expected to make an impact, and I just don't think they did enough. They had 5 picks. They could have come away a lot better. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears, and Bear fan Dan is on the show. Welcome to the program, Dan.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Bears draft?
I liked it. I think we did a good job in the draft.
Okay, I'm going to pull it out of you with a pair of pliers here. Tell me what you liked about the Bears draft.
I liked that we got our tackle.
Uh-huh.
And I like that Noah Sewell.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, good pick.
Sewell, that's a last name.
I thought so too.
We now have 2 brothers. We have 2 brothers on each other's teams.
Yes, we do.
We should play each other on Thanksgiving.
Oh, here we go.
Some days will be good. We play each
You're
other
right.
on Thanksgiving.
Right. You guys got 2 of the crappy brothers. Right. Your brother was a 6th round and a 5th round. Ours was a 1st and a 4th.
When was the last time you won a Thanksgiving game now?
Yeah, good point.
Here we go.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't 85, I'll tell you that.
Hey, at least we can say 85. You can't even say nothing.
Was that a Janet Jackson sighting?
It was.
Absolutely.
When was the last time that we won a Thanksgiving game? Not much.
2016, maybe?
Russell Wayne, the king of drops.
That's right.
All right, now let's talk about the Green Bay Packers and all 4 of their new tight ends. Bill, the Packer fan, you called it, even though you weren't much of a draft follower. You actually said on one of our programs we might even take 2 tight ends. Yeah, and you just said it in passing, and you were right. You did draft 2 tight ends, and then you signed 2 undrafted free agent tight ends. Yeah, so 4 new tight ends in Green Bay. How do you expect this to affect the offense?
Oh, I think it's going to help out Jordan Love, dramatically because new quarterbacks, that's their safety net.
Yep. That's right.
And I believe Luke Musgrave was the fastest tight end in the draft, so we're just adding more speed onto our offense. Yeah, we got another Packer fan on what we're
here. Looks better than your cheerleaders.
Yeah, but I'm pretty happy with the tight ends, and I'm glad that we got that receiver too, Reed. He looks very promising.
Yeah, he's a great receiver. We get to watch him here in Michigan a lot as he played for the Spartans, and he is a baller for sure. He's punching guys in the tunnel after the game, and then Quezzy's crying in the tunnel. You guys are what's it? Quay Walker, he's crying in the tunnel.
Fun. Yeah, don't
Jaden Reed's punching people in the tunnel. You guys are going to be hell in the tunnel.
Wow. don't be messing with them Packers in the tunnel.
No. So you're right though. What's a young quarterback's best friend? A good defense, a good run game, and a tight end. And those are three things that the Packers definitely addressed in the draft to help out their young quarterback Jordan Love. I do feel like the Packers also put one over on the Jets. Because by swapping picks 13 and 15, and there were people on this very show right now who said, that doesn't mean anything. Well, and there were some of us that said, oh, yeah, that has a lot of value. And we saw it on draft day as the New York Jets went to draft for their first pick at number 15. We saw the Pittsburgh Steelers jump them at 14 and take the last good tackle, Broderick Jones, off the board right in front of him and leave the New York Jets holding the bag without that coveted left tackle they wanted to protect their new diva quarterback. So, Russell Wayne, I'll ask you, do you think that the Packers put one over on the Jets with that?
Yeah, I mean, really, I think that it really does prove that every one pick matters, and that's why you see teams that are willing to give up like a 4th round pick to move up one spot because it does matter because then you get the guy that you wanted to get. And I absolutely think that the Jets thought that they could move back 2 spots and still get one of the top tackles. And I guess they were wrong. They got played and, that they end up, it is what it is. So,
all right. We've got a couple of new panelists joining us today. It's A-Dub, who's a Packer fan. He's got a lag, so y'all got to wait for him to respond. How we doing, A-Dub?
1, 2, 3, 4, and go. There we go.
All right.
Welcome to the program. It's good to have you back. Are you happy with this Packers draft? And if so, why?
Looking at this draft, I'm actually happy with it as it is. Like, so far, every pick so far addressed the need as far as a situational standpoint. Like you said, the tight ends we picked up, like tight end was definitely a position of need because we were looking thin in that area as depth. So drafting the 2 that we got definitely helped out there. And first pick was more than understandable as far as the uncertainty of Rashawn Gary given his contract as well as trying to recover from the ACL injury and Preston Smith getting up there in age. So our first pick, Lucas Van Ness, definitely made sense to me.
Me too. I give that pick an A. The kid's an absolute beast. And for those reasons that you just said, I think he was a great pick. After that, it's kind of dicey, though, right? I mean, you did get 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers in this draft. So you definitely helped out, gave some weapons for your young quarterback. But I just feel like, did you do enough on defense? What do you think, A-Dub? Could you have used a few more defensive players?
Yeah, I think we got a few that might be under the radar as far as possible steals, like Carl Brooks. Like, sure, he may have not had the kind of competition that is an eye opener. He may have faced lesser competition, but the production said enough to where, yeah, he had some value where he was, and so did Obi Dean, the edge rusher we got in the later round too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like the Carl Brooks pick that you got out of Bowling Green. That's a guy that Russ and I were talking about for the Lions. Really a high motor, high character guy. Sure, he came from the MAC, but his highlight reel is very impressive. So I think he got a late round steal with Carl Brooks's too. That's why I think the Packers are right there neck and neck with the Bears for the second best draft in this class. We'll bring it over to Ken Bear Down Dobie because there's still a lot of time left in the show. Welcome back to the program, Ken. It's always great to have you.
What's up, man?
What'd you think? I mean, we were with you every step of the way, and thank you so much, Ken, for helping us out the way you did.
Yeah.
You were a beacon a light in the storm for me personally with the help you gave us on draft day, and I just want to say thank you, sir. And give us your assessment now that you've had some time to digest this draft.
Yeah. Well, it was a fun 18+ hours we all spent together on our coverage of the draft. My God, my wife is like, "Oh, you still live here?" Because she didn't see me all weekend. You know, for the Bears, the more I'm looking at the draft, I like the Darnell Wright pick. Foles did what he had to do. Overall, Foles did what he had to do. The Darnell Wright pick looks like to be the right pick, especially for what Foles is looking for. I know everyone's making hay about, you bypassed Carter, but that's not what he wanted. I think Wright was his guy from the jump, and he just kept putting himself in position to get there and get draft capital along with him. I really like Roschon Johnson in the 4th round at pick 115. I think that's going to be one of those picks. That's a hard one at first because he was behind Bijan. But I think this is one of those picks where we get 2 years down the road, it'll show to be incredible value. We've seen this in the past where someone gets stuck behind someone in college, but still has an immense amount of talent. Ends up being a very solid pick for a team.
Right. Ask Thurman Thomas.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, another addition that wasn't a draft pick that intrigued me was we signed a kicker from Syracuse, who's a Chicago native, as an undrafted free agent rookie. Now, Mike has this thing, if he cuts Santos post June 1st, it's a $4 million cap savings. Like, we need to save money this year, but it is. And this kid won the collegiate best kicker award in 2018, so he's got a leg. This makes it a little interesting. Some of these undrafted free agents, undrafted rookies, really make it interesting. So he's interesting. Picking up Tyson Bagent, the quarterback from Shepherd, wherever the hell that is. It sounds like it looks a little interesting too. But I'm really interested in where's this kid's name. He's from Syracuse. I was trying to have him up before you came to me, and I lost it. But no, that is an interesting pickup to me. There we go. No, that's a tight end. We did take a tight end. We didn't draft a tight end, which is surprising. We went and got one in the free agents. But I think picking up a kicker in the undrafted free agents is interesting, especially given how many kickers came off the board this weekend. But no, I'm extremely happy with what Foles did. I give him a B+, A- grade. You don't know until you see him play, but I like what he did.
What round did you get Tyreek Stevenson in?
Pick 56, second.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like that pick. That was probably the most envious pick that I had for you guys, where you guys got really good value, because we were looking for some defensive back help too. So I like.
Sorry, I dozed off. Was Ken talking about?
If you go, hey,
but I still think it's going to happen, Ken.
I know, but main event Mike wants. Well, no, main event Mike wants to make fun about talk about a kicker, but hey, your kicker from Michigan drafted in what was the 3rd round?
5th round.
Yeah, that was just his. That
3rd round, San Fran.
You were smarter than that team.
3rd round.
That was like Jim Harbaugh.
At least you
my
waited till after
kicker.
the draft.
My kicker.
I mean,
my kicker's Michael Badgley.
We saw 3 kickers and 2 punters actually go in the draft, which is kind of insane.
I know. Russell Wayne's head almost exploded around the 3rd round.
I can't take it. I can't take it. You're going to take a 3rd round. That's draft capital. Yeah. The thing that I'll ask, if you draft a kicker in the 3rd round, is can he rush the passer? Can he catch the football contested? It's nonsense. It's nonsense.
Only if his name is Sebastian Janikowski, and none of these guys are Sebastian.
Yeah.
And that was the last time a punter and a kicker were drafted at the same time was the Los Angeles Rams.
No, it was the Raiders, and that's when they drafted Janikowski.
And everybody says the same damn thing. We're back, Janikowski.
So yeah, but New England did that.
Okay, the one unicorn out of the, and then Jason Hansen even coming from us. It's like, gosh, that's like 2 examples in 30 years.
If you're the Niners, though, if you're the Niners, your roster's pretty stacked up and down.
Yeah.
Right? You take the best kicker, and for the next 10 years, you don't have to worry about a kicker. I get it, but still, he would have been there in the 5th round.
Who's the best kicker in the league right now?
Oof, that's a tough question.
Who's kicking a Nola?
So does everybody remember the day that Carlson was drafted and how great it was that day, and everybody celebrated because they got such great value in the draft? Oh yeah, that never happened because people that are smart don't draft freaking kickers.
I think Tucker's the best kicker.
Yeah.
But no,
I'd say Tucker's the best kicker by far, you guys.
Okay, but he's 100 years old.
I'm sorry. If you drafted a kicker, I'm sorry.
The Bears did it right. They went undrafted free agent. I think the Bears, draft-wise, I think their first through their 5th actual picks. So their first rounder, their 2 second-rounders, their 3rd, and Roshan, which they got in the 4th, all end up being starters this year.
Do you think they'll bring in 4 or 5 other kickers to maybe have a kicker competition, and they could take practice? They could all kick field goals and see who's the best at it.
The last time the Bears did that, Gold got his job, so bring him on back.
I mean, I think NFL teams do that all the time, though. It's like, I know it's low key and we don't talk about it much, but it happens every year. But I thought this year was 3 kickers and 2 punters, and New England drafted 1 of each, and I mean. Usually that's not something you see in a draft, Russell.
All right, next question. Mute him.
Hey, can I just give...
We're done talking about kickers.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Look, it's the only position that Mike could ever play.
That's not true at all. That is not true at all.
Appreciate your love.
I'll have you know I was a damn good athlete in high school.
That's right.
Mama said I could play football.
So let's get into the smack talk part. Really, let's get into the opposite fan base trashing the other people's picks. I mean, everybody thinks that the Lions had such a horrible draft, or the Vikings think they had such a horrible draft. The Packers had a horrible draft. According to
Can I start that one? Can I start that one?
No, you're the host. You're last.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's talk about Brad Holmes not being scared to draft inside the division, and he somehow sweet talks the Green Bay Packers, who needed a safety more than any team in the league in this draft, and somehow he sweet talks the Green Bay Packers into moving ahead of them, and then takes the best safety in the draft. Let's talk about that.
So who do you want to go to first?
Anybody who wants to take it. Let's stick it with the Packers. Let's go to A-Dub.
You're next.
A-Dub, what do you think of that about Brad Holmes fleecing your team?
Was a rough case to see that happen, but the thing was, I didn't see much coming out of it like safety class itself, but this draft was kind of weak. So,
agreed.
And I know we needed a safety very badly, but I guess Green Bay's got their plans set on where, as far as that position goes, we're gonna take what we can in a later round, and as well as like our GM said, the door is not closed on us trying to re-sign Amos back either.
Right.
All right.
Also, A-Dub, as of right now, they have not picked up Jordan Love's 5th-year option either.
Yeah.
They've got until midnight tonight to do that.
Well, Mike, did you hear the quote on that real quick? Why don't you give him the quote? Gutekunst
go ahead, Ken. I did not hear that quote.
The quote from Gutekunst was that that's a lot of money to spend on a guy who has not played yet. So I don't think they're picking up the 5th option because, and look, that's a smart move because they've never seen the guy really play, only practice.
Right, and Jordan Love could be awesome. and then they sign him to a big deal afterwards. So it could happen. Well, that'd be interesting if they don't pick up the 5th-year option, I think. I mean, that'll be a real prove-it deal. And that'll mean him and Justin Fields in this division with their feet to the fire to produce this year. Or there could be big changes in both of those franchises. Darcy Maville, what do you think of that? Jordan Love, Justin Fields, are these guys the future, or do you think they're going to tank?
Well, absolutely, they're the future. They were drafted in the first round for a reason. Like, I'm high on Justin Fields. He ran all over us previously last year. We can't stop him. You can't stop that guy. Now it's unknown what Jordan Love's going to do. Yeah. Like he's got lots of reps when, A-Rod was doing his, I don't know, not coming to OTAs and not coming to training camp, not being very selfish for his team. But we will see. We will see. All the Packer fans are all high on them because of tradition.
Yep.
Tradition.
Yeah.
We are always winning the North, right? But man, it's going to be different. They have an excellent offensive line. They have an excellent wide receiver group that are in their sophomore year. Plus, they drafted another wide receiver. There's big things. I think I hope we play the Packers early. I hope we play the Vikings early. I hope we play Chicago early.
Yeah, that's a good. I would love to get out to a 4-0 start against those teams. And that brings up a good point, Darcy. The ESPN announced that the league is targeting May 11th. So 10 days from today, we will know the schedule. We already know the opponents of the teams in the division, but we will know the actual, what are going to be the primetime games, where are going to be the locations, who's got to play overseas. We'll know all of the details 10 days from now, and we are going to do a special program on that day so we can break down, make predictions on how the schedule falls for each team and what it's going to look like coming out of the gate for each team. Taylor Phillips, welcome to the show. This is your first time on the main event. Anything you'd like to tell us about you or your team?
Well, we just had a couple commenters saying negative comments about Brian Branch. By the way, I'm the host of my own podcast, the Michigan Sports Truth podcast. Brian Branch is not a bad linebacker or cornerback rather.
Safety.
He's safety. Thank you very much. Cornerback, safety. It's almost the same, but it's a pass defender. He was a really good pass defender out of Alabama. Yeah. And I still think he can develop with the coaching staff in the pass defense with C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Emmanuel Mosley, and Cam Sutton, along with Kirby Joseph and Jerry Jacobs. Yes. So I think that they can teach Brian Branch the ropes in the NFL on how to defend opposing wide receivers and play the ball, not the body.
Yeah.
And
good point.
And for Jahmyr Gibbs, he's got a lot of moves. He can run really, really fast. I said earlier here he was an upgrade from DeAndre Swift, who the Lions traded to the Eagles. Jahmyr Gibbs has this almost Barry Sanders caliber, if not that. And yes, Branch was on. Hello, thank you. At least someone commented something good about Brian Branch. It was on Hellas Hall Report radar. Yes. Yeah. So Brian Branch, I think he fits that need at corner.
Yeah, he was a steal.
Jeff Okudah.
Tell us again, Taylor, where people can hear your podcast.
It can be heard on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. You guys can check that in the private chat, by the way. And I can post that.
You have a really smooth, you have a really smooth podcast voice.
Thanks very much. Also on Twitter and Instagram at Michigan_Truth, and on Facebook, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast.
Yeah, you have a soothing voice, brother. You're putting me to sleep over here. I like it.
Thanks very much.
Absolutely. Very good. So the Michigan Sports Truth is called.
Exactly. The Michigan Sports Truth Podcast.
Michigan Sports Truth Podcast.
Made it
Check
from the
Taylor
ground
out
up.
on that.
Mike,
do you think
Branch could play? Do you think Branch could play at like that nickel corner spot?
Yeah, he's considered a Swiss Army knife in the secondary.
Yeah.
He could play slot. He could play nickel. And coming out of Alabama, he's coached up well, especially as a secondary player, because that's where Nick Saban focuses a lot, is in the secondary. And I believe that the Lions have drafted him not to play safety exclusively. And like Greg Rice said earlier, we've got a great tweener there with C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Brian Branch. We can alternate these guys. We can disguise looks. We can bring blitzes from odd places. So much Aaron Glenn's going to be able to do with this guy. He was an absolute steal in this draft, and I love that we jumped in front of the Packers to take him. Greg Rice, what do you got to say about Brian Branch to this group?
Well, look, in my opinion, you can make a case for Witherspoon. You can make a case for Gonzalez. Look, Brian Branch was inarguably a top 3 defensive back in this draft. And I was funny, Taylor, I seen you jumping in the comments there. That was John Dorn, our resident
we got
Packers
more
homer,
negative comments in the comments section.
who we can literally backtrack just a couple weeks ago and quote, he wanted Brian Branch at 15 or 13, so just ignore him. We got an absolute steal of Brian Branch. Like I brought up on our previous show, this guy has a 2% missed tackle rate.
Those that disagree don't do research.
Yeah, he has a 2% missed tackle rate. That is the best missed tackle rate since PFF started taking this stat. We got an absolute steal with Brian Branch. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, I love that Taylor's been in this group for 40 minutes and already hates John Dorn.
John Dorn, I've never even heard of him.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh, you will.
Who?
Join NFC North, the huddle, and you'll see lots of him.
Yeah, he comes to us from his F-150 at a rest area in Peoria.
I'll add you to the group after, Taylor.
But John Dorn did specifically say that's a great call out, Greg. I'd love to see Brian Branch. He said that.
Well, look, my boy Simon, who I love a lot, diehard Packer, but a logical Packer fan, said that he had a hard disagree on Brian Branch being a top 3 defensive back. Okay, so I'll push the thread back a little bit more. Top 5. The guy's versatility alone, in my opinion, brings something special to the table. The fact that he's going to learn from a guy who essentially does the same role in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, like what more could you ask for? This Detroit Lions secondary, you guys, is by far the deepest in this division, and I would argue the most talented, except for if we're just excluding the Packers cornerback trio, in which I got to give them the nod for that.
Yeah, we don't know what Jordan Love is going to be, but they got tougher out of this draft, I think, with, Luke Musgrave, one of the fastest tight ends in the country. They already had Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. They add Jaden Reed, who, mark my words, is going to be a good pro. He's going to be a good wide receiver 3 on the Green Bay Packers. But that's the extent of the impact right there. Lucas Van Ness, a tight end and a wide receiver. And the rest of these guys, they've got 4 tight ends they signed as of today. Not all 4 of them are going to be on the roster on opening day, right? It just seems like they have too many holes to fill, and they didn't do that. They made a few great moves, but not all the way across the board. Whereas I feel the Bears made solid moves across the board. The Lions made solid moves across the board. Of course, the Vikings just shit the bed. Let's be honest.
Chef Brad Holmes can cook, I tell you.
Just like you said, Mike, what the Vikings needed defense by far. They were the worst defense in the league last year, and they only had 1 pick within the first 102 picks, and they go with a receiver because they lost Thielen. Like, you had more needs. That'd be like Bears going for a quarterback.
Yeah.
The other thing, Mike, too, with the Packers, I mean, most teams will roster between 2 to 3 tight ends. So I could see if they're going to go with 3 tight ends and the other guy is just going to be on the practice squad. I think all 4 of those tight ends will end up in Green Bay either on the 52-man or on the practice squad. I think they're going to keep all 4. Because they completely rebooted their tight end room.
Right, but they had one that they kept from last year, Adore, whatever his name was, Toure. So now they've got 5. So somebody's got to go.
About 4, at least 4 of them will be on a contract of some type in Green Bay, I'd say most likely.
Right. Yeah. Well, the Lions were like Russell said, the Lions were the only team that got 5 players in the top 50. So you can say what you want about the picks themselves.
5 players in the top 50. Let Brad Holmes cook.
Now,
period.
Something I want to say to these people if you want to take shots and say you reached or did this or that, but don't go and try and pretend like Brian Branch was all of a sudden this shitty safety all of a sudden. Like
He's not.
He wasn't like he's no. I'm looking at. I think that
bunch of negative Nancy commenters.
Simon, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're a really, really smart guy. Like, and for you to take
so do research, Simon.
And for if you,
it's there.
If you're gonna come in there and say some stuff like that, I know a couple weeks ago everybody was looking at this guy as the highest touted safety. It was unanimous. It wasn't even a thing, and we got him at 44. He was slated in some places to go from anywhere from 6 all the way anywhere into the first round.
Russell, you're wrong. You're wrong, Russell. Here's why. My GM didn't select him, therefore he must be trash.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying.
Simon knows better. Look, if we're going to talk about the pack.
There you go. There you go. Right. I like that. I like that. I never said he was bad. Okay, you're not saying he's bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Simon's good. He knows
draft
football,
was
man.
great. Our draft was great because the pundits don't know anything. Your draft sucked because the pundits said so.
Oh, yeah.
The pundits said so, right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Hard disagree on the top.
And just because I thought that we got.
I take that last back. Yep. But, so he only said he was not top 3.
You
but
talk
he
so
did
soft,
say
I can't tell if you're talking to somebody outside or if you're talking.
He's talking to us, I swear.
Are you talking to us? Are you sure?
Hey, Russell, you should give him the music.
What's the over? What's the over?
Taylor's voice is so unique. Taylor, would you do a quick flip for us? Taylor, would you do a quick soundbite for us?
Oh, sure.
Hi, this is Taylor. This is Hi from Taylor, Michigan Sports Truth, and you're listening to the Main Event 365.
Hi, I'm Taylor Phillips, the creator.
Use the soothing voice.
Yeah.
Hey, quiet, everybody. Quiet.
Sure.
Here we go.
I'm Taylor Phillips, the creator of the Michigan Sports Truth podcast, and you're watching the Main Event 365.
I like it.
Do it again.
Yeah.
You got to go 365.
All right. That was anticlimactic. Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Taylor. You staying on or you heading out?
Yeah, I'm going to head out.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here. We hope you come back
Thanks
again.
very much. Darcy, thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
No,
Mike, you as well. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Take it easy, Taylor.
Thanks, I will. Yep.
I'm going to check out his podcast just because he's got such a nice voice.
Wasn't there a group with 3 girls called the Phillips or something like Taylor? And there was one
That's
called
Wilson
Taylor
Phillips.
Oh,
Wilson,
wait a minute. Here we go. Wait a minute. You ready for this, Mike?
Yeah.
It's money.
Here we go.
What's up, gang?
What's good, Jamez?
What's
It's our
bro?
good friend,
Are you putting
Minneapolis,
that-
Minnesota.
Are you putting that
How are
overtime
you
in?
today?
No, I'm not putting no overtime in. I'm at the airport, man. I'm about to be headed back to Minneapolis.
What about all that defensive talent you guys drafted this weekend?
You never know. You just never know with these guys. You might got some of these guys. You guys think they're probably trash and bargain bin material. They might turn out to be pretty damn good, man.
That's right. That's right.
At least that's what I tell myself to keep hope alive.
You're honest, bud.
Wow. Sidney Brown is the best safety in this draft, says William. Okay. That's one of your that's the best value pick, isn't it? Wasn't that you're a Viking, right? That's a Viking right there. Sidney Brown
went to the Eagles.
No, he did not go. He did not go to the Vikings.
Look,
I think he went to Philadelphia.
The Vikings signed more undrafted free agent rookies than they drafted this year.
Right.
I think
many picks.
I think a couple of them undrafted dudes are probably some of the best dudes we got.
I agree, Jamez.
Especially that
real question,
linebacker.
Agreed.
Yeah.
The real question, Jamez, is: are you going to change your Adam Thielen tramp stamp tattoo to a Jordan Addison?
Oh no. No, as good as the kid might be, I think it's more when it comes to Thielen, man. He's actually from Minnesota, man. So there's a little bit more there with him.
Yeah, I get you.
Right, and then Carolina gave him a 3-year contract.
They gave him some pretty good money for that too.
Go.
Yeah,
they gave him pretty good money. They put him 3 years too.
Yeah.
Right. And if I'm Adam Thielen, I probably would have stayed at Minnesota for the league minimum, but you didn't even seem to want him there, your team.
No, I think if he's willing to take the league minimum, I just don't think he was willing to do it at this point, seeing how he had already reconstructed at this point. And then when his wife got involved, his wife said she didn't feel the Minnesota love, man. So I already knew we were heading down the wrong path.
Yeah.
So do you think Dalvin Cook is the next one gone?
I think he's probably the only one in the next one gone, bro, the way things are going. Unless it's just like, I don't know, they keep changing their stance on it.
Yeah.
1 minute they're not trading Cook, and the next he's probably going to be gone for a fifth. At this point, I just want something to happen with it.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think about the young running back you drafted? Didn't you draft a running back too? Do I have that wrong?
No, you're right.
Yeah,
McBride.
Thank you for saying that, Mike.
I did.
He did draft.
I think I did see that, man. I think it's just a good thing for some of these picks, man, just to be prepared before you even have to get. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you let this guy get developed, he doesn't have to start right away. Let him get his NFL body and learn from these guys before him. And that way, you know what I'm saying, you're not worried about spending this big money on guys. Let's say these other dudes, Madison's contract's up in 2 years. We got Ty Chandler. By the time this guy comes on to board, man, he's still not going to be that expensive. You know what I'm saying? If he's worth something, so. And we got to start taking that approach, man, at being ready on all phases, man, and that makes it easier down the line.
Is that the way the running back market's going now, though? It's like, we talk all offseason. We've talked all offseason, about the tags. Now, of course, the guys didn't sign the tags, but is that the new way forward with the running back? You draft them, sign them to a fifth-year option, then either tag them or cut them. Is that right?
And just reload something, Jamez.
Not even just that. Okay, go on. Go ahead, Russell.
I just wanted to ask you because I thought that one of your great value picks. I was really actually impressed with the Dwayne McBride pick in the seventh round. Tell me a little bit about what you thought about that and the Dalvin Cook chances of staying on the team.
The way I feel about the later round pick, man, is that it's super hit or miss. Like I said, I think on the last show, man, some of these guys that we're getting in the third or fourth round, they're going to be in the league longer than these guys that we get in the first and second round sometimes, man. It just pans out that way a lot of the time. But for him, he went with the bargain bin approach again, man. I was a bit shocked that he did. I mean, the first trade made sense to me, like I said, man. When he turned the 80-something pick into 3 picks, okay, that made sense. But when he just keep doing it, it kind of screams like, bro. When you just keep doing it, it makes me think like, damn, these motherfuckers. I think Minnesota's going to trade back every damn pick they get from now on. But
next year and get some next year picks. Be like,
what do you have?
Hey! I told Melvin. I said, bro, this motherfucker traded back 15 spots for a lottery fifth the next year.
Yeah. I mean, you could have had Trenton Simpson, the linebacker out of Clemson. And there's right a lot of good dudes there, and we're thinking, they're going to take Trenton Simpson to replace Eric Kendricks. And what do? They trade back. I
forgot what team it did, Mike. I forgot what team it was, but the exact next pick that was made, I'm talking about, it was a damn good motherfucker. That's
Baltimore Ravens got the next pick for Trenton Simpson. And I want to ask you, Jamez, I know you love your team, but I always respect the fact that you give it to us straight, even if it's not pretty, for Minnesota. And I want your grade on this draft and what you think about your general manager, Kwesi. Is this guy's job in jeopardy after this draft?
I don't know if I'm gonna go job in jeopardy route, but there's definitely huge question marks around the whole situation to the point where, there's a lot of people that's still gonna trust the process. But at the first time at bat last year, when he let Brad Holmes do his little fleecing and whatever else that came about, what I'm saying, it's his first time at bat, you can kind of let it go. But when it happens again, and the only chance I say for him where he won't even become a hot seat is that some of these guys, he just get lucky, and some of these guys actually pan out and can fill the roster pretty damn good. I like the Addison pick, but I just not right there where he took it. You know what I'm saying? And I think he's going to be a damn good acquisition to this offense, man. We had to replace Thielen in some kind of way. I think we're going to have a nice offensive attack regardless if Dalvin Cook is here or not. And to answer that question, man, I'm just ready. At this point, I would like to get more than a fifth for him. I would like to at least get a third for him. But if it's ended up being a fourth or a fifth, I'm not gonna cry about it, man. At the end of the day, they've made it clear if he's not taking the pay cut, he's out of here, man. They do not want to pay that tab anymore. And like Ken said, Man, in this time in the league, man, you got to go running back by committee. How many people knew the running back for the Chiefs' name before that Super Bowl? Now, I don't think many people even paid attention to Pacheco or any of these guys they got. Man, you get 2-3 guys. You got your speed guy. You got your third down bruiser or whatever. You got that can catch out of the backfield, and you do this shit by committee, man. I think that's the way we got to do it too.
Did he answer the question?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He did.
He answered the shit out of it.
He said he doesn't think Klezzy's job is in jeopardy. He doesn't think Klezzy's job is in jeopardy, so he did answer the question.
Dwayne McBride is a good. I mean, I like that addition. He's a way different back than either one of Madison or Dalvin Cook. I mean, this dude is blazing fast.
Okay,
good
I love that.
But he had a 3rd round grade, so that's the one pick I'm going to give the Vikings credit for.
Okay.
Other than that, your draft was trash.
Let's face it, they're the only team in NFL history. Only team in NFL history with a negative point differential to make the playoffs. And coming out of this draft, they didn't do anything to help that. They're poised to they are positioned now to score 30 points a game, but give up 40 points a game.
No,
Brian Flores
no, Mike, no. Score 40 and give up 30. You got it wrong.
Always a pleasure having you on the show, Jamez. Thank you so much. We've got a new panelist here. It's Chad. He's a Lions fan, which means he isn't that smart. He's a glutton for punishment. Welcome to the show, Chad.
Hey, why can't I come in here and explain stuff and maybe not bash every other team? Okay.
Oh, because this is a trash talk group. This is what we do here.
Oh, that doesn't mean I won't trash talk, but I at least have to get something good about every team. So let's look at the Viking situation. And you guys are bashing
pretty uniforms.
And I know. I do not like the Vikings at all. But literally, they're in such salary cap hell. They can't even afford to pay their draft picks. Why do you think they're trading back? They've got nothing in cap space. They're doing the best they can. They're still going to be formidable. Okay, they will. Do I believe they're going to win the division? No. Could they? Absolutely. Anybody can win it.
Good point.
I like this take.
Okay, now let me go to the Packers. You like that? All you guys bashing. I mean, come on. I'm old. I'm probably older than all of you. Okay, I saw all of Aaron Rodgers. I saw all of Brett Favre's career. Listen, the one thing the Packers do right is quarterback. Okay, now all of a sudden, what I see is they're being smart with taking affordable people that they never did for Aaron Rodgers. That's because he's just a bitch. And am I allowed to say that? Come on, you know it.
You are absolutely allowed to say that.
Look what the Packers did. Honestly, I'm to the point to where I think they could really be in the top of the division. I'm just totally okay. I do, as a Lion fan, and I'm not being biased. I do believe the Lions are the best team in the division. I could be wrong. Anything can happen.
Playoffs.
And I don't want to hate on the Bears because you know what? The Bears were really freaking smart. They really were. They didn't utilize all that capital they had. No, they were smart with the money so they can go into next year. The Bears can go into next year and basically steal the draft NFC-wise. Now, let me get to the Lions, and I got to get this up. The Lions are getting bashed for their picks, which I don't understand why, because the top 4 picks are definitely immediate impact as long as they get their training camp and all that healthy. Okay, so I want to switch the picks up. So, you got all these draft analysts that are mad because the Lions didn't pick what they wanted. But what if the Lions went like this? What if the Lions took Deion Branch 12th? Okay. Brian Branch. Yes, thank you. Then they took Jahmyr Gibbs 18th. And then they took Jack Campbell 34th. And then they took Laporta. Exactly, which is bullcrap. Holmes knows what he's doing. Let's be honest. Let's give this guy some credit. He knows who's going to go where. He's got inside. We don't. Patriots, we're gonna take Gibbs.
Yes,
Patriots,
they were. Thank you.
Yep. And Jack Campbell was not going to be there at 18.
No way.
He would. or no, he was. I mean, he wasn't going to be there at, I'm sorry, 34. He was not going to be there. They want this character, okay? And you know what? I think it's fun, and I like you guys, and I like all the animosity between us and to talk, but sometimes you just have to be honest about the whole thing. And I'm being honest what I see.
Nice take, Chad. You shot that.
Love it. I love it.
Chad, you know how
Chad.
the Lions had a good draft? You know how you know the Lions had a good draft? With their first pick, you saw an immediate impact within 24 hours in that team. Within 24 hours of taking that running back in the draft, you had a running back who was producing for you, and you traded him off before day two. That tells me immediate impact. And Brad Holmes, look, I think every team, I guess even the Vikings, all kind of got what they needed or what they could do in the Vikings case.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone had a bad draft per se. There'll always be questions from these idiots on Mel Kiper types because it's called they have to.
You've had enough of that shit.
Justify their existence.
Yeah.
So they're justifying their existence right now by being mad that we didn't take who they wanted to pick. But when the Lions draft the guy within 24 hours, you have a really good veteran player who's traded. That's immediate impact you can't ignore.
Now, hang on. I'm sorry to interrupt. You started with a question. You said, you know how you know the Lions had a good draft, and I have to answer it before I forget.
Well, it wasn't
because you started with a question. Yes, you know how the Lions had a good draft is a question. Okay, you know how the Lions, they had a good draft because all of the top draft people say they had a bad draft. That's how you know they had a good draft.
Nice, Chad.
Yeah, but which paraphrase means Mel Kiper's full of shit, and all of his little goonies too. Man, but I like this segment here, guys.
Right on.
I like. Let's go around the whole panel, Mike. And why don't you take everybody around the panel and say what's good? I like this. Let's say what's good about your opponent in the draft. I
love that. I love it.
What?
Yes.
Are you kidding?
You have to say something good, Mike.
What we do here. No. Okay.
Well,
all right.
This will start a fighter too. Come on.
Okay. Minnesota has cool uniforms, a nice stadium,
and no money.
Packers have.
I was trying to be nice to Chad, Mike.
I'm sorry, I got nothing for
You're making me look bad. I was trying to be nice for once. I guess we can't do that on our Smacktalk.
No, it's a trash talk.
Oh my God.
Nice?
Yeah,
Right.
you did take I'm sorry, Vikings. You took a wide receiver in the first round when you didn't have a second round pick and you needed defense. I like the pick of Addison, but God, you can score 40 points and you're going to lose 13 games. You're going to average 40 points a game and you're going to lose 13 games.
We got a new panelist with us today. It's Andre. Hey, Serial, how you doing?
What's going on? How y'all doing today?
Good, man. Thanks for being on the program. What'd you think of those Detroit Lions on draft day?
I think I liked it. It was some good picks.
Yeah, is our team better?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Mike the Bear fan, I got a question for you. Other than the teams in the North, was there any team in the NFL that stuck out to you that did really well? Anybody's draft impress you outside of our division, Mike the Bear fan?
I'd have to actually say Houston in the beginning because
they day one,
early picks, like that was great. But when I'm looking at it, I mean, I thought Philly did well overall. Okay. I believe they had the best draft.
You mean the Georgia Bulldogs?
Ken Doby, same question. Any team stick out for you that really did well outside of this division?
Yeah, I think the Colts actually didn't do too bad for themselves.
Yes.
With some of these teams like the Colts, it's hard, but no, they did okay. You know what? Pittsburgh did okay. They got what they wanted to get. They got Joey Porter Jr. So they had a good draft. And New England, now I'll go on the flip. New England's the one team then draft that made me scratch my head. Because even with Minnesota, we all knew why Minnesota drafted the way Minnesota drafted. But the one team, the whole draft is like New England, because he had some phenomenal Belichick picks, and then he had a kicker and a punter.
Yeah. Yeah. So you actually, I didn't think anyone would pick the Colts as a team that stood out, because that was the team that stood out for me. So I'll jump the order here and just finish it off since you brought them up. Of course, they get Anthony Richardson, AR-15. They also get a guy I loved in this draft, Julius Brents, the corner out of TCU. They got Josh Downs, who will be a great over-the-middle third receiver to go along with Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman. So they did good right there with the first 3 picks. Then they really spread it out. They had 12 picks. They got the defensive end from Northwestern, AA, is a hell of a player. They got Rush from South Carolina, the corner. They got a safety, a tight end, a running back, a linebacker, a corner, another corner, and 2 offensive tackles. They really made their team better and brought in cast a wide net and brought in all these players. I think they really had a surprising draft. The team that lost for me was the Miami Dolphins. They only had 4 picks in the draft. And they didn't pick until pick 51, and they take Cam Smith out of South Carolina. They didn't make any moves. They didn't do anything to make themselves better. They just kind of took what was given to them. Then they had pick 84, and they took another running back. Do they have like 10 running backs in Miami now? I could not believe that they took a running back with as many running backs as they have there. So Colts were a winner for me. Miami Dolphins were a loser for me. Let's kick it back to the panel now. Who's that at the bottom? Is that Simon?
Yo. Yes, Simon.
Hey, Simon, welcome to the program. Simon, what's the name of your podcast?
Let's give him the floor here.
Let me defend myself a little bit. I don't hate Brian Branch, okay? But when Greg said he was a top 3 DB in the class, no, I don't think so. I think that's a little bit overblown. I like a lot of the cornerbacks over Brian Branch. If the Packers took him at 45, I wouldn't have been upset. I know we need safety help, and it would have made sense to me. I don't hate him, but I also like us trading down twice and getting Wicks and that defensive lineman. I thought both those picks could turn out well. But yeah, I'm not shitting on Brian Branch.
Well, I appreciate you coming on here and saying that, because so many people, what they like to do is they like the player before the draft, and all of a sudden he's not drafted.
That's not what I was saying.
No, Russ. Don't let him off the hook that easy. Don't let him off the hook.
He's still the best.
No, Simon. The only reason you're saying that, Simon, is because the Packers didn't get him. And to be clear, Greg Rice never said he was the best top 3 DB. He was a top 3 safety. Well, he must have misspoke, because Greg Rice knows his shit, and he wouldn't blatantly say that. It's not like he's a Viking fan.
That's why I put what I put there.
Okay. The only reason you're saying you don't hate him and all that is because the Packers didn't get him. Because if the Packers would have got him, you'd be on here saying, we killed it. We got Brian Branch, the best safety in the draft. What say you to that?
But I like what we did, though. I'm okay with that.
I think the Packers had a pretty decent draft, too, for sure. I love the Lucas Van Ness pick. I think it's great. Jaden Reed's going to be a great player for you. Overall, graded, though. I know a lot of people hate gradings, but give me your grade, Simon. And also tell our viewers where they can catch your podcast.
So I would say I don't like grades either, I guess. But I do question a couple of the picks. So I'll go like a B+, B.
Okay.
Sean Clifford was kind of questionable, but I guess Green Bay liked him enough to win that run on quarterbacks in the 5th round. They're like, oh, we got to get the guy that we like. And they brought him in on a pre-draft visit. So they felt like they had to get him. The kicker, I guess, I didn't particularly love him, but I guess he has a relationship with Bisaccia. So I guess he's going to try to turn his shit around. And then I forget the Woolen dude or whatever. He's kind of a weird tweener pick for us, where he'd have to probably put on some weight to play the 3 technique. Otherwise, I don't know. It'll be weird, or like, I don't know. So those were the 3 I kind of had questions about. And at first, I didn't love the Jaden Reed pick, but I'm actually starting to warm up to it now because I didn't look at him a ton until afterwards. But he looks like he can be a skill player. I guess Green Bay clocked him at a 4.37. I know during the combine or whatever he ran a 4.45. but he's a fast dude.
Yeah, he has a knack for getting open too. We see him a
Yeah.
lot here in Michigan during Spartan games. So I think he's going to be a really good player. But you graded your team with a B+ on this draft. In your opinion, Simon, was there any team in the NFC North that graded an A?
I really like what the Bears did, and I know people I don't know how to answer this question because I do like what the Bears did. I like what the Lions did. I know people are like, oh, they reach. If the player works out, it's not really a fucking reach, is it?
Right. And tell our viewers where they can watch your podcast.
He's an explosive, exciting player. Jack Campbell, I think, was the best linebacker in the draft, and he's a very Dan Campbell type of player. He's a downhill, smash your face in type of running back, or linebacker, and I love that. So as far as reaching goes, whatever, I like both those players a lot. I also like Darnell Wright, the Bears. If the Packers took him in the first round, I would have loved it. I think he would have plugged and played right tackle. He dominated in the SEC, the best conference in college football. The Vikings were kind of questionable, I think, on some of their picks. I know they didn't have a lot, and Kwesi kept trading down for whatever reason. I guess to gather more picks, but they were Addison in the first was kind of confusing with all the defensive help they need, in my opinion.
I agree with that.
I know that doesn't really answer your question, but
you did. So basically, you don't think that one team clearly did better than the other?
No,
it's just hard to say.
Because you gave your team a B+, and you wouldn't go so far as to say that anyone else got an A.
So all three tied, it sounds. I like it.
I wouldn't. That sucks because it depends on what happens during the season.
Oh, of course, it's all speculation.
Sure. Yeah, sure. If I were to say someone won a draft, I'd probably give it to the Bears. I really like what they did.
And where can our viewers listen to your podcast?
Oh shoot, yeah, you can catch us on Wisco Fanatics. We have some shows lined up during the off season, not a ton. But if you want to check out our page, come find us, and we'll let you know when we're going live.
That's Wisco?
Yeah, Wisco Fanatics.
Okay, so that's like a short for Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw it into the chat right now. So if you want to go there, heck yeah, man, go there and like that, follow that. I mean, if you're into Green Bay Packer stuff, I don't know.
Mike,
go ahead, Ken.
It's still cool.
So you were talking about the Dolphins, and the running back room right now has 5. But here's the thing: they got the rookie of the 5. One's the guy they just drafted, Devin Akane. But here's the thing with them: Moser has been in the league 8 years. I don't think anyone here is going to say he's bad. But the problem is, in Miami, is the same problem was in San Francisco. The same problem was with Chicago when they drafted him. Injuries. So then you look at the
so you got Mostert, Jeff Wilson, the new kid, and who's the other 2?
So yeah, you got Jeff Wilson, and then you've got Myles Gaskin.
Yeah.
Myles, yeah.
And it's Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, Myles Gaskin. Salvin Ahmed. And he's 3 years. So Ahmed and Gaskin both played for Washington, both went to college together, a year apart in the draft. So I mean, I could see why.
Bunch of waiver wire fantasy football guys.
The speed kid. That's why they drafted him because they have a track team on Miami, but their running back room could still use work because of the injury issues. And I think that's why you saw them do that.
They also took a wide receiver at 197. So I don't, again, Miami with only 4 picks, you've only got 4 picks. And definitely clearly the strength of their team is the wide receiver room. They lost Mike Gesicki. At 84, there were some very good tight ends available still. I just don't understand some of the picks that they made. That's all I'm going to do.
After Waddle and Hill in Miami,
Cedric Wilson.
Drop off.
Cedric Wilson's a great player as a wide receiver 3.
And Simon, I wanna give you some kudos for your team on something that, like, in fantasy football, if you ever play and you have like the flex, right, where you can put the wide receiver or the tight end in there, like every year I'm stuck with that conundrum. do I want to go for the double threat guy on the tight end? You know, if you get 2 of those top 5 tight ends and you get a Waller and a Kelsey, then you're hooked up, right?
Yeah.
I think that you guys went for that with, you know, taking with the 2 of those top 100 tight ends, because everybody was kind of in that range of like superstar tight ends. So I like that you took a swing at that, because if you could end up with Waller and you know, Travis, or let's say Waller and Witten on your team at the same time, that's not a bad thing. So it's like, I appreciate that swing, the fantasy football swing.
Yeah, and you know that's a good point, because the NFL is moving to more and more 12 personnel. Every year, the percentage of plays that are played from 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends on the field at the same time, that number goes up every single year, right? And as like we saw in New England, you get 2 tight ends in one draft, it can be murder.
I actually got that too.
Thank you, Ken.
Well played.
Yeah.
You've had enough of
sir.
that
Well
shit.
played.
Stop playing with us. That was good, Mike.
Thank you.
And you know what, Russell, if you ever get those 2 guys in your fantasy league, I want to know how much you paid off everyone else in the league to get that kind of draft.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, you're sacrificing something else. Like, you're going to have 0 running backs, but you'll have like Kelsey and Waller, but you have nothing else because you had to draft them so high. So it's like having the opportunity to have like 2 of those gigantic plus like tight ends, that's actually pretty cool. It's a cool thought. Like, if both those guys bud and turn into, you know, top 5 tight ends, that's good for Jordan Love. That's for damn sure.
Well, and look, Green Bay's learned a little bit from what Chicago did last year offensively. Admittedly, we weren't the best, obviously, but the Bears ran a lot of 3 tight end sets last year. A lot of 3 tight ends.
That's because you had no offensive linemen.
They needed them to block.
Yeah. But you guys are both missing the point.
No, we're not.
Actually, I think that you missed the point. I was talking about how good Simon's tight ends were.
Right.
And all of a sudden
So
we're talking
follow
about
me
Bears
for a
tight
second.
ends.
So follow it
You
for a
know how it
second.
works.
You can run a 3 tight end set with a good blocking tight end and 2 hands tight ends and mask it better on a 3.
You finally got him this year. Congratulations.
So I mean, you'll see it's actually you're seeing 2 and 3 tight end sets, because especially if you do have a good 5-man front, then you could really do a lot with.
You don't have a good 5-man front. You have the worst offensive line. Almost your bottom 10. Let's be honest. Justin Fields runs for his life. Okay, let's pray he doesn't get hurt, because if he gets hurt, you're going to trade the 2nd overall pick for Hendon Hooker.
Okay, Chad, take the wax out of those ears that have been there since 1910. I know you haven't cleared the wax out of your ears since about 1910. I was saying, not the Bears particularly, that the team that has a good 5-man front can run a 3 tight end set out there and really do some damage with these.
And you're going to win 4 or 5 games. Okay. 4 or 5 games. You're going to win 4 or 5 games, and Justin Fields is risking his life. I like him as a runner.
What are you talking about?
For my own sanity, I need to hear from A-Dub.
I'm not talking about the Bears' offense. I'm saying as an offense in general, if you have a good offensive line, you can run a 3 tight end set and do a truckload of damage. That goes to what Russell said with what Green Bay's doing. Because you know what? Green Bay's 5-man front is actually pretty good.
Well, let's say 42 to 10.
They can run 3. They can run a 3 tight end set and do some stuff.
Ken, I gotta stop you, Ken. Chad is roasting you from the homeless shelter.
No, he's
you
not,
need to stop.
because he doesn't know how to freaking listen. I'm not talking about the Bears.
I know how to listen because I'm replying.
Look it. I get
I'm
it.
listening to what you're saying, and it makes no sense. You hate.
Was at the last. He was at the Cubs World Series.
I'm dead.
No way. But he doesn't listen to what's being said. Besides, at least my team has Lombardi, whereas Chad has never seen one. There's the
Yeah. Well, at least my team kicked. At least my team kicked Aaron Rodgers out of the North because he couldn't handle it anymore.
Oh, wait a second.
Well, at least my team beat the Lambeau Packers in Lambeau, and we're going to hang a banner because we're so excited about it.
Chad, you get a
You guys, this is fun. No, I'm messing with you. Come on. Let's have fun.
Yeah, we like it, Chad. Good job, brother.
Oh, well done. This is fun. This has been fun. My gut is hurting because
this has been the Comedy Central roast of Ken Dobie here on the Main Event 365. What is that, Ken? What is
That's
that?
the golf clap. We're getting the golf clap.
Is there anybody that thinks the Bears aren't going to finish last? Let's be honest.
We're
I
not
mean, be
finished.
honest.
No, I think
in
the
the
Vikings
division.
are. I think the Vikings are going to finish last. I don't think that the Bears are going to finish last.
All right. I'll give you. Maybe that happens.
Do you
If
know
anything,
the
I think the
additions
Bears
that
will
the
finish
Bears did
second.
all year. Just asking. Do you know all the additions on offensive defense that we've done?
Yeah.
Who?
If you did, yeah, the Bears
They
are going to
needed
be
help on offensive line and wide
Don't get
receiver.
Ken
They
started.
addressed that.
He won't even leave out the backup kicker. He'll tell you.
Okay, you've got all first-year players that aren't actually totally ready like our first four picks are.
It's
It's Darcy 2.0. Are you related to Darcy?
The only person on the offense that's going to start right away is Wright on our rookie class. Other than that, I don't think really anybody on the defense will, besides maybe Dexter, maybe.
Yeah, Gervin Dexter's got to. I mean, you better hope so.
There'll be rotation. All the guys will play, but they won't be starting.
Yeah, but you did say, like the Bear fan, you did say that you thought Roshan Johnson would start on opening day.
I did not say that.
Oh, I thought you did. I'm sorry.
No.
I thought I heard you say that. I'm sorry. I thought you did say that.
No,
I'll come to the defense of the Chicago Bears on their draft because they had so many needs, but they had so much money too, and they put bodies in every single one of those needs. Now, whether those bodies can gel and do what they need to get together, that remains to be seen. But they put body, they put talent in all those spots. So
yeah,
I mean, when you be a lot better.
Bears are scary in 2024.
Not just
Bears
add to the Bears still got about $15 million to spend, so we could still
What?
help out that weak
that
defensive
after
ends we have.
No, you got more than that. The Lions got 30.
No,
Chad, that's what we
have
to
money.
spend.
I'm just saying what they're making us spend.
Yeah, we have to spend that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, gotcha.
I think that when you add free agency to the draft and you look at what the Bears have done as a off season in totality, they've probably had the best off season in the division with the Lions
you taking
right
a
behind
D
them.
tackle or
With the
D
Lions
end?
right behind them. I think that the Minnesota Vikings have had an abysmal off season while
They
the
had no
Packers-
money.
The Packers have had a below average by just sitting on their hands too much. I think the Packers have made limited moves, and they just haven't done enough to help themselves in this division for
Time
next
out.
year. That's
Time
just
out.
my
They
opinion.
set Jordan Love up with all these weapons that nobody knows about, and they really did do good in the tight end class. No, they set Jordan Love up with people
We
that
shall
aren't
see.
known.
Go ahead, Simon. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that as far as this upcoming year, yes. But for the future, I think they did what was best for the franchise.
I'll agree with that. For the future. They got younger. They got younger. They got more explosive, but it's going to take time to gel. It's not done overnight. And I think going into this year, they didn't make a big free agent signing that could. I mean, they let a Hall of Fame quarterback walk out the door. That's huge, right?
I think you had.
No, they kicked him out of the door. Come on, you all know it.
That's true.
They
No,
were
you're right.
sick
You're
and
right.
tired
You're
of him.
absolutely right, Chad. You're absolutely right. They shoved him out the door just like they did.
They
Brett
did.
Favre. They're absolutely right.
And then they held the Jets and him hostage for 3 months or 2 months. They held them hostage. They
So
wanted to
Simon-
get this done long ago.
Simon, do you agree with?
You know
Simon,
what?
do you
Chad?
agree?
I'm just being fucking honest, okay, guys?
Oh my gosh! Wow!
Hey, Simon.
Like for a guy that was going to be really, really like he was like calling us out for being really, really mean. All of a sudden, he turned into Mr. Hyde, didn't he? It's like
Hey, Simon. Hey, Simon. Do you agree with? Do you agree, Simon? Do you agree with Gutekunst though on Love and not picking up the fifth-year option? That's too
I
much
think
money to
it's-
spend on a guy you haven't seen yet.
I think it's interesting, and you know what? And like Green Bay, I don't know. Their general manager and the president say some weird shit sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
It blows my mind that they're like forthright about some of the stuff. or maybe not. Like, who fucking knows? You know, it wouldn't actually surprise me if they sat down and got a contract done, extension, before the season. Like, if today rolls by, they don't give him his 5th-year option, which I think is completely possible. If they rolled into the season and gave him a contract extension, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Well, how much would you? Well, they've got until July 17th. Hold on, they've got until July 17th. If they don't pick up the 5th-year option by midnight tonight, they've got until July 17th to sign him to a new deal. Otherwise, he plays for the 5th-year option.
If they pick up, yeah. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. And I think that's completely possible. And that's the big question is, like, if they were to give him a contract extension, what would the money look like? Because you can't give him top dollar. But you
could give him a Daniel Jones. You could give him a Daniel Jones contract.
And I think that's an interesting option as well. Basically, a 2-year, $40 million.
Right, which is, and it's almost the same situation because Daniel Jones, they did not pick up his 5th-year option, but they got a deal done in time. And you're saying that Jordan Love could go the same way, and that's probably the best take I've heard on it so far. So, yeah, that's a good call out. A-Dub, we want to get one last parting shot from you before we sign off tonight because we do have enough time left in the program to account for your lag. So we're going to ask you, A-Dub, do the Green Bay Packers win this division next year?
To be honest, I'd say no. I mean, considering what I've seen out of every other team, I think everybody's improved to the point to where you won't be seeing Green Bay do much with this division. This year for Green Bay has to be a year where it's just going to be, let us see what we have in Jordan Love first this year, and then we'll consider a time where we get back to where we compete for the division. But as far as this year goes, I see no, we're not there yet.
That's a great take. I agree with that take 100%. Your franchise is in a state of transition now, and it just goes to show you how important the quarterback position is. We find out what Jordan Love is when we finally know. I mean, a lot of Packer fans think they already do, but I think you're right, A-Dub. That question will be answered when we find out what Jordan Love is. Well, I think we're kind of up against it. It's been an hour and a half. It's been a great program. The NFC North Open Mic. We're here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'd like to thank all of the members of our panel, Mike the Bear Fan included, and the maestro Russell Wayne. For all of them and to all of you, we say God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.
Bear down.
Bear down.
Hey, Monday and Wednesday, you said?
Monday, Saturday.
Welcome all to the encore. This is the encore. I'm going to stay live. We're going to stay live right here for anybody that wants to stay on and talk some football because it ends up being like another hour with Ken anyway. So for all the crazy football fans that just can't get enough, you know, I'm willing to stay on a little bit longer. If you guys want to talk some football, if you're still out there in the comments,
you ended the broadcast.
No, we're live.
I did not. We are still live.
It says end on mine.
Look, because Mike's intros and outros go so long, they're probably waiting for him to finish saying goodnight.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm not live, but I still have an end broadcast on mine.
No, we're live.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is 7 p.m. I mean, we're doing the NFC North Open Mic 7 p.m. That's Eastern time. So if you're in a different time zone, I mean, we'd love to have you on.
I mean, the whole division except for you.
We cover all the division, and
no,
then
the whole division's central. You're the only oddballs in the East.
Oh, okay. So we're the oddball. So you have to go to oddball time.
Yeah.
So it's 6 for you guys, right? So it's 6 p.m.
Yeah.
6 p.m. for all the normal people.
Yep.
7 p.m. Eastern.
The Lions are in a different time zone from the rest of the division. Yeah, that's a good point.
We're in the winning the division time zone.
3 hours behind.
We're in the
rare that
win the
Lions are
division
actually
time
close.
zone.
I like that.
You know, they're behind on the football field, so they got to be ahead in the time zone.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Kudos to the Chicago Bears for their draft. Oh, I'm gonna get
Never
Bill.
do that again.
It's Bill. Bill
You know
will add me in. He'll mute me during my takes. He'll mute me.
Were you doing the Thriller dance right there? What was that?
Yeah,
that was
Russell.
Mike.
Russell
That was only mostly awkward.
Wasn't me.
I think he was trying to imitate what Mike was like Thursday night at the draft party.
What was I like? I don't remember a lot of it.
What night? Because it was different.
Oh,
I got a question.
I think Russell's got the footage of you on the stripper pole.
No, I've seen the mask. I've
Yeah.
seen the mask.
Yeah, we did draft Hendon Hooker. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
on the stripper pole. So what you
Me
guys
on the
think, you guys
stripper
have a
pole
hooker
is
pole.
currently got 2.5 thousand views on YouTube. So
yeah,
Wow.
that's
Can
right.
you request
And
a
we-
friend
and we got-
request because we're not.
what did Darcy say?
Bill,
What is he saying?
Well,
Did you mute him?
No,
Bill
he's got
did.
bad
it's
internet.
My
Bill.
hands are
This
right here.
this is what he does. We're
It's Bill mutiny.
I'm not doing
I-
nothing. I swear.
I think
love
we
it.
just have to have Bill and Darcy go head to head.
No,
I
I don't. He's
love it.
not. Oh, actually.
and then he brings it back.
Bill's Lions Rams fan
He
Darcy.
said it is a trash talk.
Oh, the Yuki shuffle.
Oh, it's nice to know that we have a hooker to go with our gambling problem.
Yeah.
Villains, gamblers, and hookers.
You know what's
That's
been
right.
surprising, Russ? We talked about this Sunday. We expected to see some free agency stuff, and it's been quiet.
I'm surprised.
Very
Latavius
quiet.
Murray signed by the Buffalo Bills today.
Who?
What do you think of that signing? Ken?
Who?
Latavius Murray was signed by a 1-year contract by the Buffalo Bills. So they have Latavius Murray and James Cook as their starting running backs.
What was the price?
I don't know, but it's a 1-year deal. They didn't release the details yet.
Info yet?
Yeah. I mean, the Bills find a way to stay competitive in that division. That's just another weapon. You know, these guys that we're going to see now either were health issues, they're older, or they were too expensive, right? And they had to learn the hard way. They're not worth the $50 million anymore. They may only be worth the 15. So it's a good pickup for the Bills. I mean, anytime you add a seasoned veteran who knows how to win, even if your team sucks, it still ends up being a good pick because they teach the young cats. Buffalo doesn't have that issue. They're a good team. So them picking up another quality player, if the money was right, then, oh, yeah, it's great. It's great for them.
Brian Den in the comments said the last time the Lions were relevant, Barry Sanders was the running back. I think that's one of John Doran's shadow accounts.
But I mean, you ain't lying. We ain't gonna hide behind that. I mean,
I disagree. The last time we were relevant was Week 18 when we finished with a winning record and kept the Packers out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's
but what have you
relevant.
done for me lately?
Yeah, I mean,
That's cool. I mean, if you're gonna come with a take, at least let it be accurate. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be semi-accurate.
I mean, I'm more excited about this team than I was in the team in 2014 that had Matt Stafford and Ndamukong Suh and Calvin Johnson, because those 3 contracts were so crippling that we couldn't get better. Like we kind of hit our ceiling. We might have been able to win a playoff game, but we never really. I don't think that we ever claimed Super Bowl. I mean, a couple people were thinking maybe Super Bowl that year, but never like this. I think this is the most excitement I've seen in the Detroit area over football.
No doubt.
Great take. That's a great take.
No doubt. I mean, Darcy, I think you could probably speak to that, probably being like the senior member of this panel. You could probably speak to, I mean, in your lifetime, I mean, you were there for the 57 team probably, but
Yeah.
Since then, have you seen a Lions team that gets you excited like that?
Well, back in 1985, the Green.
You got to take over, Mike.
Bill strikes again.
Nice try. Real deal, Maville.
I wasn't really muted. I just did that.
1985, we were a good team. Back when we had Dicka. Dicka was an excellent coach, and he made the best.
This is a family show.
Well, what's
Watch your
amazing
mouth.
about 1985 is we hardly bring it up.
In 1991, we had Wayne Fonts. We had Wayne Fonts. We had the greatest running back ever. His name was Barry Sanders. Do you remember him? He's probably.
Oh my
God, Mike, the Bear fan, are you kidding me? Stand up and show us are you wearing an 85 jersey right now?
No.
Doesn't Ken Gogi have a Willie Galt jersey hanging in the back?
You don't see our new right? I already got it.
Oh, you already got a new Darnell Wright jersey. Holy moly.
Not give up one sack all year.
Hey,
he technically didn't last year, but hey, you guys are saying that the stats are wrong and he gave up one.
Hey,
but
you got to give Mike the Bear fan some credit on that. He's fanning hard. That's quick, dude.
Yeah, it is.
That's quick. He needs to
What's
get some
real
kudos
quick is
for that.
I'm one up on
Get him up
Russell
there.
and one up on him because it's actually a custom Roquan.
Oh man, I was trying to hook you up.
I'm honest, man. I'm honest.
You burned me on that.
You had us good. You had us good like Thursday night draft night.
Let's see what Ken's got in the case. What do you got, Ken?
Oh wait, is that a Justin Fields jersey that needs to go on the wall? It is, but I have the Galt there. It's a cheaper frame. I'm getting the expensive frame for the Fields. But come on, what fan does not have jerseys or helmets from their teams from their childhood? I'm sure.
No, hey, I agree. Hey, Darcy,
old leather
can we
helmets.
see yours, Darcy? Can we see your memorabilia?
What kind of fan
put it on.
was
Go
he
put
in
the helmet on,
Mexico
Darcy.
last week
Mute him
doing
until
a
he gets
show?
the helmet.
What kind of fan was doing a show from where were you? Costa Rica or something with some big mansion and some
Puerto Vallarta
overflying pool? Yeah, whatever.
I was Puerto Vallarta.
You remember these guys? You remember these? The Fox, Fox robots.
Yeah,
he going back.
I mean, there you go.
Was that back when you guys won the division?
No, this was back when. I think this was like Charles Rogers time.
Yeah, we're still waiting, Darcy. Let's see your signed memorabilia you got, bud.
Oh, I got here. Do you want to see?
Yeah, you got to turn the green screen off because we can't see.
Okay, watch. Jason Hanson. You see there? Jason Hanson.
Nothing.
Corey Hilliard. Oh, hang on.
I don't even see nothing.
I see nothing.
Yeah,
there it is. I see it.
Scribbles. You need a better camera, Darcy.
Yeah, it looks like your handwriting, Darcy.
It's probably
Jason Hanson. Jason Hanson right there.
The green screen.
The best kicker ever to kick in the North. Jason Hanson, baby. Jason Hanson.
Okay.
You want me to put the
That looks like crayon. They probably should have wrote that in Sharpie.
You got a Dan Hampton jersey?
He just smudged it. Did you see how he put a helmet on?
Oh man!
Did you see his cheeks implode?
Darcy scored 4 touchdowns in one game.
Hey, Darcy,
He got mad.
that's the best kicker.
Sorry, guys.
That's the best kicker right
Hey, I
there.
got 2 of those, Ken.
Name that kicker.
Is that Robbie Gold?
No, KB.
Butthead,
KB.
Kevin Butler. I do have a Robbie
Kevin
Gold.
Butler. He was a good kicker. Kevin Butler was a kicker.
I do have a Robbie Gold helmet too. I got 3 kickers in my collection: 2 Bears and 1 Seabass.
Come on,
Yeah,
Ken,
I like
come
that
on,
85
Darcy.
team. I mean, as a Lions fan, I never hated the Bears. You know, I hate the Vikings, I hate the Packers, but I never really hated the Bears because they were never much of a threat.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate that, buddy.
How was
Appreciate
that when we got the second most wins?
Well, I always liked Walter Payton. You know, I liked that 85 defense was incredible. I mean, the Super Bowl Shuffle was a
This is
shitty
why you
song,
don't
but
like
it was
the
cute.
Packers, folks. This is why main event Mike does not like the Packers.
Yeah, that's why. That's exactly why. And it's that in that antique stadium with the parking lot field that you've got there. It's
Oh, you put
But
up
it's
to
the
Soldier
third
Field?
biggest.
I didn't know you made it to Soldier Field before. Did you have a bulletproof vest on?
No, I'm from Flint. They're scared of me.
Hey, at least they got heated seats, man.
He said, "I'm from Flint." I probably
Hey,
got a
now I understand a few things about Mike. He said, no wonder why his takes are so off. It's the water he's drinking.
Right.
He's got that Flint water.
Mm-hmm. I have a foot growing out of my head, actually. When people see me, they say, "Wow, you've grown a whole foot since I've seen you last."
Dang. You must be a short guy.
You don't want to hear what they tell Ken after they've seen him for a while. I can't even repeat it on the internet.
Hey, but no, was it? I seen it. I don't know if it's true. Was it true when you guys got Montgomery that Swift asked for a trade, and that's why you guys did what you did in the first round?
I read that today. When they got David Montgomery, he asked for a trade. It was after they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. He went right to the draft room, to the war room, and said, "I want to trade."
Mike, the Bear fan, got that info yesterday. So
I
follow
had it
me.
last Tuesday, man.
And you know that Brad Holmes knew that he wasn't going to be on that team when he drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. You know that, right?
Well, I'm saying that was part of the reason why you went with a running back so early is because of that.
Well, yeah, you know, Ken called this shit back in September of last season, man.
I mean,
He
there
said
was
on
other
draft
reasons
day,
too.
Swift
but
is asking for a trade. He's going to barge in that room and he's going to say, "Trade me to the
Mine
next bidder."
Bill talking about out his fifth point of contact, like he normally does. I have to say this, Mike. The Bears and the Lions are both in a great spot because they both have a roster full of contracts that are friendly to the franchise. Both teams have a bunch of good talent, a lot of good players, but unlike the Vikings, everything is franchise friendly. Like I can't fit every team's gonna have like the one albatross kind of contract. We all get at least one, right? Some guy that's like 19, 22, somewhere around there. But for the most part, we don't have any Bakhtiari contracts, put it that way, like Green Bay does. Like these two teams are set up where they can stay.
See, now I got to school you, Ken. Now this is where Bill, the Packer fan, steps in and teaches Ken a little something here, buddy. For one, we only have two people making over $10.8 million, bro. That being Kenny Clark and that being Bakhtiari. Now, if I pull up over to cap, I guarantee you have at least 5 people making more than that. Probably plus 5.
I don't think so.
So for you to sit here and say that we're strapped and we're just screwed on cap because of Bakhtiari, you're talking out of your left butt cheek and not even thinking about the right one.
Go back to the kitty table. Go back to the kitty table.
Then he bounced.
At no time, Bill, did we say that the Packers are strapped. So go back to the kitty table and let the adults talk.
We have four players at 10 plus. 4.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, though, Mike, is like both Mikes. The Bears and the Lions are set up very nice with the rosters, their money situation for the foreseeable future. The Packers.
Hey, Mike, this is why you don't do drugs.
Now we'll address the kitty table. Bill at the kitty table. You can pick up your spoon.
Did you just hear Mike the Bear fan? You have double the people making more than 10.8 than the Packers, but you're in more of a better position than the Packers.
Oh my God!
Did I get this right here?
This is Bill. He doesn't let anyone finish the point because he jumps the point. Bill, after you get rid of Bakhtiari,
wait, you never finish a point. I don't know what you're talking about there.
Once you get past the Bakhtiari contract, you guys are getting that. You'll be getting to that same situation the Bears and the Lions are in right now.
Well, we both have 4 players over 10 million, but the only contract I don't like on the Bears for a little future, like 1 or 2 more years, is Eddie Jackson. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
How many years has he got left?
I think 2.
2.
This one and next.
The Lions are on that uptrend for a reason.
Me too, man.
I got to jump off, fellas. Hey, Mike, when you're done, will you end the live broadcast, please?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Mike, Bill, rip these guys up while I'm gone, will you?
Shit, I'm going to eat, bro.
All right, man.
Puts me to
Take care, you
sleep,
guys.
man.
I
I fell
appreciate
asleep
y'all.
twice during the podcast, man.
Peace out.
Later.
Yeah, I'm gonna go eat. I'll be back, man.
No, the Packers aren't strapped.
Busy.
Packers aren't strapped. They had 2 contracts they need to get rid of. Mike,
no, I agree.
Main event's trying to figure out how he turns off the computer there.
I know, right? Oh, there you go. There you go.
His AOL dial-up wasn't working tonight.
But yeah, I got a couple more minutes, but I was trying to save more Bear talk for Wednesday.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, hey everyone, if you're still watching Wednesday night, same the Bears, we will have our post-draft show. What are we doing at 7:30 Central?
What's that? 7:30? Yeah, 7:30.
7:30 Central for the House Hall Report. And then after this show, we'll probably take a small break going into until we get to camp, unless something big happens, and we'll pop on. But yeah, we'll see if the Bear talk for Wednesday. So looking for that. And for those who watched all that draft coverage with all of us, thank you. It was fun though.
It was a long hours. I think it was a little over 5 the first day, 7, and then 8. Like,
Yeah,
it was long.
I had over 18 hours that I was on. My wife was like, "Oh, you do exist." I'm like, but you know what? Though, like,
but what I was gonna say tonight, which they didn't get to, I didn't really say nothing to, but yeah, I think I believe the Lions and the Bears and Packers kind of tied, personally, in the grade category. I don't think they got an A. I don't think we got a B plus. I think all three of us got a B. The reason why I say that is because their running back Gibbs, I think they reached a little bit, but like they said, as long as he's going to make a big factor, it doesn't matter. I mean, I feel like we reached on Dexter a little bit, but as long as he's making an impact player, it's different. Because next year, it's different. We're not going to have Jones around. He was only on a 2-year deal, if I'm not mistaken, so he's going to be out the door. And our defensive ends are not that great. I don't know if you actually seen them, Ken, but it's only Gibson and Walker. I mean, we got a decent rotational, but
did you see the interview with Eberflus after the draft? He doesn't care about edge. He cares about interior rushers. He's like, get interior. That's why you didn't see us really go at edge with more interior, because that's his thought process. So I'm fine with that. I would agree with you. I would say, as far as the picks themselves, I would say, yeah, each of those 3 teams about equal. But if I include in the draft the trades that impacted draft, i.e., where you gave up a pick or you got picks, then the Bears won the draft hands down with between getting Claypool, getting Moore, and getting we improved our draft capital more than any team in the league this draft process. So if I look at it from that lens, the Bears win the whole draft completely in the NFL. But if I go from the actual picks on those 3 days, I would agree with you. But yeah, I think that's the mistake when they talk about grading a draft. We look just at the players they pick. But wait a minute, what about the draft pick you traded and got a player, or a draft pick you traded away for a player, or the draft pick you traded away to get more capital and better rounds the following year? And they always, is it me or they do this when it comes to that? It's like they cover their eyes, like it doesn't exist. Like, you can't ignore the fact that Bears draft capital this year also includes DJ Moore and Chase Claypool. They are, I mean, yeah, Claypool came in during the season, but it was for the 32nd pick in this draft. That isn't, in effect, us drafting a player. So
we'll have to see on that answer at the end of this year. But we didn't get Claypool for last year. We got him more for this year. So I'd have to grade that more at the end of the year.
But
you
it
know
was
what I mean?
But pick for this draft, though. That's why I include it. Because it's part of this draft's business. Does that make sense?
But here's the thing. I think Poles is doing a great job for sure. I think he set up Justin Fields for success. But say, for instance, that Field does tank. We have 2 first-rounders for next year. So, I mean, I think we're set up regardless if he does good or bad. We'll be set up for next year.
I think Main Event Mike is full of shit when it comes to Justin Fields. We said, oh, this is his prove-it year. No, it's not. Look, he's got this year for the 5th-year option. Okay, great. But then you can take the same argument that the Simon gave for Jordan Love not getting, because the Packers already said, we're not going to pick up the 5th-year option. $20 million for a guy who's played 6 quarters. That's a little.
I just want him to feel more comfortable and protected on the offensive line. You know what I mean? Because we gave him the weapons. So I'd say kinda he is. Like, he's definitely got to improve.
But it's not like if yeah, I agree there has to be improvement, but this is not a make or break. Like, if he doesn't have the best year ever, he's gone, or they're not going to give. Because look, let's say he does decent. Let's say the Bears have a 7-win season. Fields has a little bit of up in some areas, down in others, and it's still kind of a little bit of a question mark. You can do the Jones thing with him during his fourth year, and then sign him to a contract at the end of the fourth year still. So it's not like we're going to be looking to draft a quarterback next year.
No, I agree.
And Mike likes to try to allude to, the Bears are going to use one of those 2 first-round picks to get a quarterback next year because that's what he thinks is good trash talk. But then the same breath turns around and says, well, Jordan Love, they'll just do a Jones deal, which it's the same exact thing.
Well, on the Bears, we actually helped both sides of the ball. We got 4 starting different guys on offense and 4 different starting guys on defense. You know what I mean? That's what Billings, Walker, Edwards, and Edmonds. And then on the all sides of the ball, you got what? Moore, Foreman, because Foreman's ahead of Herbert right now on the depth chart. Plus, we got Nate Davis and the new Darnell Wright.
Well, and look, I think of the 10 picks, the first 5 will be starting by the time the year is over.
Right. Well, I got to go too, Ken, but tune in, everybody, for Wednesday for Hallis Hall Report, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And also, we will be live again next Monday night as well for Main Event 365. Everybody have a good night, and hopefully see you Wednesday.
Bear down.
What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabinda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. Y'all have a great day.